So now we're moving on to the front utility module. Same concept. We're going to grab the floor. It starts with the floor module, panel. Bottom is the texture side and the top is the smooth side. So you lay it down and then we grab the dowels. So I'm going to quickly put in the dowels on all of the dowel holes. Then you get your flathead screwdriver and then you face the dowel. You align it where the line here is facing towards the outside or facing the hole here so that you can get your bolt and fasten it through. Next step is to get the side panels. To make sure you have the right orientation, the tenons is going to face in the front and the smooth sides in the rear. And then another way is you can tell that the inside of the module is the smooth side and the outside is the textured side. And then you want to align the slot here with the tenon that's on the floor. So in this section, we have the slot and we just match it up. Then we get the quarter 20 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt. You get 2 of them on one side. Then you get your Allen head socket with the impact gun. You find the corner of your table and then you just go through. All right, one side down. Then we're going to flip the other side. All right, now that you have the uprights, we're going to install the front panel. So this is the front panel of the front utility module. Just like all front panels, you want to match up the slots here with the tenons that are on the uprights and the bottom panel. Oop. Another trick to help your orientation is the tenons are generally facing upwards with all the modules. So here's one side. I'm going to come around, match that up. Perfect. Then you get your quarter 20 by 1 inch flathead bolt. Push it through. Push this through. Get your tool. Perfect. We got one side down. On this, the dowel is already installed on the floor panel, so we don't have to install that dowel. But we're going to get the flathead bolt, push that through. That one might be a little bit tricky, so we're going to come to the side. And again, you can orientate the modules however you like it to make it easier for you. So if you're installing this in your living room, you don't have a table, just lay it on inside. Okay, almost there. Now we have the rear panel. These don't have tenons in the back, but all you have to do, a little tip here, is grab your flathead bolts, insert them almost through, just enough to create a way to guide you on the opposite side. So I'm just drilling that through just a little bit so I can get a little piece out. And I'll show you how that's going to help. Now we have the back side, and then you'll see on the back side that there's holes already pre-drilled. You grab your rear panel with these little bolts that are threaded through, and then now it's going to act as your guide here and here. That's it. It's holding itself up already. And then you now we're going to move on to the top panel. With the top panel, just like all our modules, it has slots to help guide you to orient the direction of the panel and keeps it in place. So, just like so. There you go. All right, now it's nice and flat. Then you get your quarter 20 by 1¼ inch flathead bolt, because it is the thicker material. And then you just put it down like so. Get your drill, your impact gun. The front module has a support bracket in the front. And so we have these support brackets that look like this. This is going to help connect the front panel to the top panel. And then it has these little dowels, holes with the dowels in it. And then you want to orient it in the right direction. And this is the top. This is going towards the front. And I'll show you how that works out. You probably want to start by, I think in this situation, I'm just going to do the top first. So you get the quarter 20 by 1¼ inch bolt. And then you go through the top side. So on the back side, this is how it's supposed to look. Again, you can go through the top or the front. It doesn't really matter. But since I'm here, I'm just going to fasten it. Perfect. Okay. Now that's installed on the top side. We're going to get the shorter of the bolt, the quarter 20 by 1 inch bolt, and then just go through here. All right. So we're going to finish off with the hatch. In this section, you want to grab the little aluminum plate. You install that by using the 1 inch bolt. And then you get the quarter 20 lock nuts on the back side. Fasten it here. Fasten it here. And then this is when we're going to grab our 11mm wrench. Just like so. We tighten that down. And we hold it here. Do that. All right. Almost done. We're going to move on to the final piece. We're going to grab our compression latch here. We pull the Phillips head out. All right. Open the compression latch. Then we insert it through, and it has to be open. And then you grab the bracket in the back side, and then you hold it like this. Grab that Phillips head screw. And when you do that, like so. And then you want to loosen up the nut in the back to make sure to adjust the compression latch. Now that it's installed, you just put that on top, and it's done. So now we're going to install the sink module. Like all of our modules, it starts with the floor panel. You want to put it on a flat surface and then start installing the dowels. And with all our modules, you want to make sure that the dowels are facing upwards so that your flathead screwdriver can direct the dowel. So we put it in. And then with a screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, you want to make sure that the dowels are aligned up so that they're facing towards the hole on the sides, because you're going to get the bolt and push it through. Everything is pushed down and aligned. We're going to move on to the uprights. We'll start with one upright. And with this upright, to determine the orientation, is you want to make sure the tenons are facing forward. And you match that up with the tenons facing forward on the bottom panel. And then you match up the tenon on the side with the slot on the upright. So now that's lined up. And since I'm here on a table, I am going to grab these quarter 20 by 1¼ inch flathead bolt and push it through to the side. And then you get your impact drill. Now that's nice and secure. You Grab the other upright, and you do the same thing. We repeat the same steps. Now that we have the uprights, we're going to take this time to insert the rest of the dowels into the inner side of the panels. Go through each panel, each dowel hole, and fill it with a dowel. Okay, now that we have all the dowels, we want to take this time to align the dowels in the right place. Now the next step is the front panel. And with the front panel, you want to match these slots with the tenons. This time you get the 1/4 by 1 inch bolt. You fasten that through. Almost there. Finish off here. All right, now the front panel is on. We're gonna move towards the rear panel. Same thing with the front panel. You have the slots, and then you want the tenons to be facing upwards. And so I'm just gonna match the slots with the tenons on the uprights. And because these do have tenons, it's acting as a guide. Right, now that's there. We grab the 1 inch, 1/4 by 1 inch flathead bolt, and we start fastening it. Good. So now you're almost done. You got the front and the rear done, and then we're gonna move on towards the top panel. Same thing, like the other front panels and rear panel. There's slots on the bottom side to help you align with the tenons that are facing upwards. And then with this, because you want your faucet orientation towards the back and not in front of you, you want to make sure that these holes here are facing the back. Right, now we have the top panel on. We're going to grab 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt. Because it's on the table and it's a little tall, I'm just going to orient it to face me. They always say work smarter, not harder. All right, we got the top on, and we're gonna move on to the door panel. With the door panel, we wanna align these holes with the holes on the door, on the front panel. So in this case, the holes are here and on this side. But I actually like to start by putting the hinges on first. So I grab these hinges and I grab a couple M8 bolts. I just fasten it through here. I grab the M8 Allen wrench and I just fasten that like that. So the M8 nuts are being threaded onto the M8 bolt. I hand tighten it to get the nut on there. Now you grab your M8 wrench and your M8 Allen head tool and you fasten. Okay, now that's fastened. We grab our door. And what I like to do is pull the hinge out a little bit. I grab the same M8 bolt. I align that up with the door and I put the first one in. And there's a little bite on there to help things stay secure. And then I start with the top and then I go to the bottom, just like that, and I grab my Allen wrench. Then I grab my nuts, then we fasten it one time. Okay, now that the door's on, we're gonna finish off with the compression latch. With this compression latch, you loosen up the Phillips head screw. You open it up, you slide it in. Then you get that same bracket and Phillips head screw. You go on the back side, and then you fasten it. All right, now that's fastened. You want to adjust the back bolt by getting your M8 wrench and loosening the nut. Okay, now that's done. We're gonna move on to the sink. So now we're gonna move on to the sink, and the sink's pretty easy. All you have to do is have silicone caulking. You can find this anywhere, your Home Depot or Lowe's. Simple stuff that you can find for your kitchen or bathroom. And then this is your kitchen sink. You want to lay it flat on the surface, and you're just going to lay a bead down on the corners. Just a small bead, probably a 1/4 inch thick, nice and light, because if you go too heavy, when you lay the sink down, it's going to spread and spill over. So you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to start one corner. Nice and easy, not too much. So this is how my bead looked like. It's not too thick, and it's not running over. So you want to grab the corners, make sure you don't touch the silicone, and we're going to gently place it over the top. It's going to be a tight fit, and you just let it drop like so. So in the last piece, we have this bracket for our faucet, for the Dometic faucet that we use, and it's pretty simple. You want to get the 1/4 by 1 inch button head bolt and a couple washers. Come down, we start threading it, and then we fasten it down like this. All right, and that's how you assemble the sink module. Now we're going to install the bar module. In this case, if you have a friend, now's the time to grab a beer, buy a pizza or some coffee. This is a good time because the bar module is a little bit more complicated than other modules. You can do it by yourself. It's just going to require a little bit more time. But in this situation, I have a friend here, and we're going to put it together. So just like all the modules, it starts from the floor. And the floor, with the floor panel, the textured side is the bottom side, and the up side is the smooth side. We'll lay it on the flat surface, and then we start putting the dowels in. And you want to make sure that the dowel slots are facing up so that you can use your flathead screw to align it to the sides. And then now that you have the dowels in, you can put the uprights. How you can orient it is the tenons here are in the front, which will match up with the tenons on the front on the bottom panel. Another way to guide yourself is using the slots here. These slots match up with the tenons on the side. And then you grab your 1/4 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt, and you start to push it through. We like to go to the corner to have your power tool go through this way. All right. Now we grab the other side. And now that you have your uprights, you can start to put the dowels on all the side panels. Okay, at this point, I'm going to start to orient the dowels to make sure that the slots are aligned so that the hole is facing, matching the holes on the side of the panels. All right, now you have your uprights. We're gonna move forward with the front panel. The front panel comes in two pieces. There's an upper portion and a lower portion. In this case, we're gonna start with the upper portion. Just like all the face panels, it has the slots here to match up with the tenons on the uprights. And then you get your 1/4 by 1 inch bolt, go through, get your power tool. Okay. Now that's fastened, you grab the lower portion of the front panel. Same thing, you want to match up the slots with the tenons. And in this situation, you're going to match up the pockets here. And you get the middle bolt. This bolt here, it's a 1/4 by 3/4 inch bolt. It's going to go right through the middle. And then you're going to use a lock nut, a 1/4 lock nut on the back side. Go through, and then you fasten the back lock nut, get an 11mm wrench, secure the back side. I'm gonna do it blindly here, I think. This portion down, the next step is to install the shelves. In order to install the shelves, you're going to use these little support brackets that have a little pin in it. And you're just going to, the reason why we do it this way is so that you can adjust the height of your shelf. The bottom shelf comes with adjustable height. So in this situation, you can put it, we'll probably put it in the middle and then push through and then push through. If you have a mallet or a hammer, that would help. Okay, now we're gonna install the bottom shelf. Usually we can tell that this section here is a cutout for the door. You use your quarter 20 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt. And then the final shelf, put it on top, slide it. On this side, you want to use the same bolt as the bottom shelf. You want to use the 20 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt. We're almost done. Next, we're going to do the rear. You got the rear panel here. Same thing. You have the slots. You want to match that up to the rear. And you want the tenons facing up. And we're using the 20 by 1 inch bolt here. And now you can install the top panel. Same thing. You have the slots to help guide you. So we're going to put it on top. There you go. And then you use the 20 by 1 1/4 inch flathead bolt to go through. We're going to use the panel brackets just like this to fasten the top, both the front panel and rear panel to the top panel. You can see in this situation we started with the front bolt and then we can go through the top. We're going to install the door. And just remember that the holes here are aligned with the holes on the front panel. So you want to grab your hinges. You actually want to start with the hinges. So we'll put the door aside and we're going to grab our M8 bolts and we're going to put that through the door. Both sides. Now, we do a little trick here. We put the hinges out a little bit. We insert the M8 bolts. Chose fast forwarding it and putting all of it at the same time, which is completely fine. Since we have 4 hands. That's through. That's through. You're going to grab the nuts on the back side. Bam. Yeah. Just like all the other modules, we'll have the compression latch. Then you have the Phillips head, a Phillips screwdriver. And then we're going to use an MH wrench to adjust the bolt in the back by loosening up this nut. And when you close it, you want to make sure it's pretty close to lining up to this section here. So I'm going to back it up a little bit. I test it, it's too far. Back. I think. Voila. Okay, now the last step of this is putting the bungee cords on. Your kit's going to come with 6 bungee cords. Fish it through, and then you get the back side. You give yourself some slack, and then you just tie a knot. Okay, so you want to have a little bit of thread, rope left, and then you push through. And Joe's going to do the same thing. And so that's it. And that's how you assemble the bar module.